Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are charting a course into the high-altitude world of general aviation, specifically in the Rockies.
We are. We've been going through the January 2026 issue of the Colorado Pilots Association newsletter, CPA Flight Lines.
And it is so much more than just a local bulletin.
It really is. I mean, what we have here is basically a strategic roadmap. This is all about how a big community organization, the CPA, balances its incredible history with some really practical plans for the future.
Right, plans for things like accessibility, education, and connecting pilots of all ages.
Exactly.
So our mission for you, the listener, is to go beyond just the calendar of events. We want you to walk away with a real sense of the opportunities here, the big organizational shifts, the deadlines you need to know, and the history that really informs everything they're doing today.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start at the top with President Andy Holmes' President's Corner. He talks about strengthening the organization, building on what he calls encouraging membership growth.
But it sounds like it's less about just getting more names on a list and more about the quality of engagement.
That's what I got from it, too.
Right. That's the critical part. When they say strengthening, they mean connecting the different kinds of members. You've got your lifelong pilot, the one with thousands of hours.
And then you have the brand new student pilot still working on their PPL.
Or even just an aviation enthusiast who doesn't own a plane. The CPA wants to create a space where all of them can connect in a meaningful way.
And the traditional fly-ins are still a huge part of that. They're sort of the social engine of the whole thing.
They're absolutely the heart of it. The 2026 schedule looks really ambitious. Short local hops, longer destination trips all over the Rockies, and even beyond.
But the thing that really stood out to me was the new emphasis on non-fly-in events.
Yes, and that is a huge strategic shift.
I think that's critical for getting those students and enthusiasts involved, right? Especially with the cost of renting a plane being what it is.
Exactly. I mean, if you don't own an aircraft, a fly-in can feel a little inaccessible.
100%.
So the source details this whole plan for educational seminars, safety events, guest speakers from the industry, and even family-friendly social gatherings.
Which means you can still be part of the community even if you're on the ground that week. It makes the CPA more of a resource, not just a travel club.
Precisely. It builds that deeper connection.
And speaking of long-term thinking, let's talk about the big organizational move they're considering. They're exploring the creation of a 501c3 charitable foundation.
This is a game changer, a huge pivot.
Okay, so a 501c3, for anyone who doesn't know, what does that actually unlock for an organization like the CPA?
Well, it's not just a legal formality. It signals a move from being a very successful social and advocacy group to becoming a serious, endowed educational institution.
So we're talking about fundraising.
On a whole different level.
Yeah.
A 501c3 is the tax designation that lets an organization accept tax-deductible donations. So they can tap into large-scale philanthropy, not just membership dues.
I see. So it opens up new streams of funding for their big projects.
Exactly. They can massively expand their scholarship programs, fund educational initiatives, maybe even influence policy to protect general aviation airports. It's a true investment strategy.
That puts a spotlight right on where that money might go first. The 2026 Pilot Training Scholarship Program, the application window is open right now.
It is, yeah. It runs from January 1st to February 15th, 2026. And they're offering two really specific scholarships, both named for Colorado aviation legends.
The first one is the Walt and Barbo PPL Scholarship.
Right. And this one is aimed at Colorado students between 16 and 22 who are looking to get their private pilot certificate.
The story behind Walt Barbo is just, it's phenomenal.
Isn't it? He's a genuine legend. A World War II fighter pilot, spent his career after the war in airport engineering, former CPA president, got the Colorado Aeronautical Board Lifetime Achievement Award in 2019.
But there's this one detail in the newsletter that just blew me away.
I think I know what you're going to say.
He was still an active pilot flying his Cessna 210 at age 101.
Yeah, as of spring 2025. 101 years old.
Wow. Still flying a 210. That says so much about the dedication and, honestly, the aircraft, too. It's an incredible standard to set for a scholarship.
It really is. It gives those young applicants something to aspire to. And the second scholarship is just as important. It's the Emily Howell Warner Scholarship.
This one supports female pilots who already have their PPL and are looking to get advanced ratings.
Correct. So things like an instrument rating, a commercial certificate, or multi-engine ratings. And Emily Howell Warner is a name that everyone should know. She was a true pioneer.
She was the first female pilot for a scheduled U.S. airline since 1934.
Since 1934, think about that gap. She broke a massive barrier when Denver-based Frontier Airlines hired her in January of 1973.
And her story started right here in Denver.
It did. She took flying lessons at Clinton Aviation at the old Stapleton Airport way back in 1958. Her legacy is everywhere. Her uniform's in the Smithsonian, and the airport in Granby is named Emily Warner Field in her honor.
So for anyone listening who wants to apply, the main things you'll need are a personal essay about your aviation goals and a letter of recommendation from a CFI.
And remember that deadline, February 15th, 2026. It's a hard deadline.
Okay, let's shift back to that idea of accessibility. We mentioned the cost of renting an aircraft is a huge barrier for students and enthusiasts.
It really is. The cost, the scheduling, the rules at busy airports, it all adds up.
But this is where that community model really shines. Flying Committee Chairman Bill Marvel breaks down their solution, the ride-sharing program.
And it's so elegantly simple, built right into their fly-in registration form.
How does it work?
It's basically matchmaking for pilots. If you're a pilot with an empty seat or two, you just check a box on the form.
And if you're a member who needs a ride, you check the Need a Ride box.
Exactly. Then the event host just connects the two parties, they share contact info, and the pilot and passenger work out the details themselves.
The financial part of that is key, though, the cost splitting.
Yes, and the source is careful to lay out the legal side of it. It is perfectly legal to split the fuel cost when you're traveling to the same place for the same purpose, like a CPA fly-in.
So it's not a commercial flight, it's a shared expense.
Right. And that simple fact completely changes the math for a student pilot who couldn't afford the flight otherwise.
It's a perfect symbiosis. The student gets affordable flight time, the pilot reduces their operating cost, but it's more than that, isn't it? It's a mentorship opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The passenger isn't just getting a cheap ride. They're sitting right seat next to an experienced pilot, watching them run checklists, manage mountain weather, learning real-time airmanship.
It turns a trip into a lesson.
It does. But, and this is a big but, they stress that safety is paramount.
Of course.
The aircraft owner, the pilot in command, has 100% of the final say. No questions asked.
And Marvel gives that great cautionary example.
He does. You can't just cram 4 people and their gear into a Cessna 172 and expect it to climb out of Leadville safely in August. The density altitude is just too high.
So it's a program built on community trust, but also on serious professional caution.
You have to have both, especially when flying in the Rockies.
That focus on reliability and safety is actually a perfect transition. Let's jump back in time 100 years. The newsletter has this fascinating article on the 1925 National Air Reliability Tour.
It's so easy to forget how young aviation was then. In 1925, planes were for barnstormers and airmail. The public saw them as dangerous novelties.
So the whole point of this tour was to build public trust and to encourage towns to build airfields. It was initiated by the Detroit Board of Commerce.
And it worked. The tour from September 28th to October 4th, 1925 was a massive public relations success. Edsel Ford donated the trophy. 17 airplanes from 11 manufacturers competed. Big names like Edward Stinson and Walter Beech were involved.
It basically proved that aviation could be a real, reliable part of the country's transportation network.
It did, and that legacy was just honored last year.
Tell us about that.
A group of Mooney pilots from the Rocky Mountains recreated the original tour in September of 2025 for the 100th anniversary.
So they retraced the original route.
They did, using 3 modern Mooney aircraft,
Yeah.
an M20K-252, an M20M, and an M20K Encore. So, modern efficiency tracing a historic path.
I love the historical details they include.
Oh, they went all in. Every pilot got a flight packet, and at each stop, they collected these passport stamps.
And the stamps spelled something out, right?
They did. When you put them all together, they spelled out FORDAIR TOUR 1925-2025.
That's just fantastic.
And the stops weren't just for fuel. They toured the Garmin Aviation Factory in Kansas, visited the Wright Brothers National Museum in Ohio.
And the best part?
For me, the best part was the evening air tours they took in a 1946 Piper J3 Cub on floats over Portage Lake in Michigan.
Wow. Now that's flying.
It's the perfect blend, isn't it? High-tech moody navigation one day and pure historic stick and rudder fun the next.
It really is. Okay, let's bring it back to the present. For anyone listening who's now inspired to get involved, what does the January 2026 calendar look like?
It's a busy month, and there are ways to get involved immediately. First up, tonight, January 5th, is the CPA monthly board of directors meeting.
And that's open to members.
Yes, it's open. It's at Shelter in Broomfield from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. with a social hour before that. It's a great way to see how the organization runs.
And for people who want to help plan the fun stuff, the fly-ins?
Then you need to be at the CPA fly-in planning meeting. That's on the morning of Saturday, January 10th. It's from 8:30 a.m. to noon at the BJC terminal. That is where the entire 2026 event calendar gets hammered out.
There's another event that same morning, too.
Right. For those who just want to fly and eat, there's a breakfast fly-in that same morning at Wings Over the Rockies at Centennial Airport, Kayama.
What else is on the calendar?
On January 14th, there's the Jefferson County Airport Advisory Board meeting, important for local advocacy. And then on January 24th, a really fun one, their Furry Friends and Flyers Showcase at Wings Over the Rockies.
And beyond just showing up to events, there are other ways to get involved.
Definitely. You can join one of the committee's airport issues, safety, scholarships, backcountry access. That's where the real advocacy work gets done.
And joining is pretty straightforward.
It is. It's designed to be affordable. $30 for an individual membership, $100 for a corporate one. For the amount of value you get, it's really an aviation bargain. So to kind of bring it all together, the big takeaway is that the CPA is balancing these fun, essential community events, like their holiday dinner where everyone got local Colorado honey as a favor, with these very serious, formal support structures.
The scholarships, the potential 501c foundation.
Exactly. It's a community that is actively, and I think very smartly, working to make sure that intergenerational connection stays strong for the future.
It really is a remarkable model. We've talked about pioneers like Walt Barbo and Emily Howell Warner breaking barriers, and that 1925 tour proving the sheer reliability of flight.
A century ago.
Century ago. And now you see the modern CPA using things like that simple ride-sharing program to connect seasoned pilots with the next generation. It really makes you think about the long game. We know that funding is crucial, and that potential foundation is a huge piece of the puzzle. But for you, the learner, when you consider all of it, the advocacy, the mentorship, the safety culture, what is the most critical element beyond just money, that will ensure the longevity of general aviation in the Rockies for the next 100 years. Is it the formal institutions, or is it that simple personal bond created in the cockpit during a rideshare? Something to consider as you plot your next flight course.